Welcome to Quiet Reflections. Today I want to share with you the story of Tasha, a 6-year-old barista in Phoenix. Every day she smiles, makes coffee, and chats with customers like everything in her life is perfectly normal. But inside she's quietly fighting anxiety that no one else can see. And here's the strange part. The problem didn't actually start with the anxiety. It started with the things she kept avoiding, the conversations she didn't want to have, the boundaries she was too afraid to set, the decisions she kept pushing to tomorrow, until one ordinary morning at work, when everything she had been avoiding finally caught up with her. So, what happened that day, and what finally forced Tasha to face the things she had been running from for years? Let's slow down for a moment and listen to her story. The receipt slipped from Tasha's hand. It floated for a moment in the air. Before landing softly on the cafe floor, she bent down to pick it up. Her fingers were trembling, her chest tightened. The room suddenly felt smaller. The espresso machine hissed behind her. Milk steamed loudly. Cups clinked against the counter. Someone called out an order. Another voice from the line asked, "Hey, are you okay?" Tasha couldn't answer. Her breathing shortened. Her heart pounded fast enough to blur the edges of her vision. Another anxiety attack. Right in the middle of the morning rush, she grabbed the edge of the counter to keep herself standing. But the manager had already noticed. And if this kept happening, she might lose the job she needed to survive. Because rent in Phoenix was already late. 2 weeks late, and her savings were gone. Tasha looked down at the receipt in her hand. The paper crumpled easily between her fingers, a habit she didn't even realize she had anymore. The receipt folded in on itself again and again. She stared at the wrinkled paper and felt a strange thought creep into her mind. Maybe the problem wasn't stress. Maybe the problem was everything she kept avoiding. Conversations she refused to start, boundaries she refused to set, truths she refused to admit. Stay with me, because this story isn't really about anxiety. It's about the quiet cost of avoiding the things we know we need to face, and why the clock doesn't negotiate, even when we try to. Phoenix mornings arrive quickly. The desert sun climbs fast over the skyline. By 7 in the morning, the air already feels warm. Cars move through wide streets. Construction workers line up at coffee shops. Office employees hurry inside before work begins. Tasha worked the early shift at a small cafe near downtown. Black apron, hair tied back, hands always moving, grinding beans, steaming milk, calling out orders. She was good at the job, fast, friendly, reliable. Customers liked her. Regulars knew her name. "Morning, Tasha." The usual. "Thanks, see you tomorrow." From the outside, everything looked normal, but inside, something else was happening. Every few hours, the feeling returned. Her chest tightened. Her heartbeat raced. Her breathing shortened. The strange pressure that made it feel like the air in the room had suddenly disappeared. Anxiety. She tried to hide it. She smiled, made drinks, kept moving, but sometimes the pressure built too quickly, and the attack arrived anyway. When that happened, she always did the same thing. She grabbed the receipt from the register and crumpled it, paper folding into itself again and again. A small, nervous ritual. Pocket, apron, trash, another receipt, another crumpled piece of paper. Like tiny knots of stress she carried everywhere. Tasha hated conflict, always had. If someone asked for help, she said yes. If someone crossed a boundary, she stayed quiet. If someone needed a favor, she agreed, because saying no felt dangerous. Like it might upset someone, like it might make people leave, and losing people scared her more than exhaustion. So she kept saying yes. Coworker needs a shift covered. Friend needs money. Manager asks her to stay late. Yes, again, even when she was already exhausted, even when her anxiety was building. One afternoon during a rush, her co-worker, Maya, noticed something. Tasha was holding a receipt again, crumpling it slowly in her hand while waiting for the espresso machine. Maya tilted her head. "You do that every time you're stressed." Tasha looked down. The receipt was already twisted. "Oh," Maya shrugged. "Maybe you should stop doing that." "Why?" "Because it looks like you're trying to crush something instead of dealing with it." Tasha laughed, but the comment stayed with her long after the shift ended. Momentum in life rarely collapses in one dramatic moment. It leaks quietly, one small decision at a time. First came the extra shifts. Tasha said yes. Then came the exhaustion. Then the anxiety attacks became more frequent. Then the landlord's message appeared. Rent overdue. Then a text from her mother asking if everything was okay. Tasha typed the same reply she always typed. "I'm fine," because telling the truth would start a conversation, and conversations were exactly what she avoided most. Avoiding problems feels safe, at least in the moment, but problems don't disappear. They stack, and the weight grows quietly until even breathing feels heavy. One afternoon, the cafe finally slowed down. The morning rush ended. The espresso machine stopped hissing. Customers disappeared. The room grew quiet. Tasha wiped the counter slowly. Then the manager walked over. "We need to talk." Her stomach dropped. Her mind raced through every possible outcome. Was she being fired? Had someone complained? The manager leaned against the counter. "You're one of our best workers." She blinked. "But something's going on with you." He pointed gently toward her hands. "You disappear sometimes." Tasha looked down. Another receipt, already crumpled. "I'm fine," she said quickly. The manager didn't argue. He just nodded slowly, then said something simple. "Avoiding problems doesn't make them smaller. It just delays the moment you have to face them." Then he walked away. Tasha stood there, holding the crushed paper. And for the first time, she wondered if every anxiety attack was actually something else. Pressure, waiting for a conversation she refused to have. That evening, she drove across the city to visit her grandmother. Her grandmother lived in a small house outside Phoenix. The place smelled like cinnamon and old wood. They sat at the kitchen table drinking tea. Tasha still held a receipt in her hand. Her grandmother noticed. "You still doing that?" Tasha looked down. "I guess." Her grandmother leaned back in her chair. "Let me tell you something. When I was your age, I worked in a factory. I avoided every difficult conversation. With my boss, with my husband, with myself." Tasha listened quietly. "Every time I avoided something, my life got heavier." "What changed?" Tasha asked. Her grandmother smiled. "One day someone told me something I never forgot. The clock doesn't negotiate. You can ignore problems. You can delay them, but time keeps moving. And eventually, the conversation you avoided comes back louder." She tapped the table gently. "So I stopped waiting. Not perfectly, but honestly." The next morning, Tasha tried something small. Not a dramatic life overhaul. Just one rule. One honest conversation per day. Day 1. She texted her landlord. "I'm behind on rent. Can we talk about a payment plan?" Her hands trembled as she pressed send, but the reply came quickly. "Sure. Let's talk." The world didn't collapse. Day 2. A co-worker asked her to take another shift. She paused, then said something new. "I can't today." Her voice felt shaky, but the conversation ended calmly. Day 3. She told her manager the truth. "I've been having anxiety attacks." He nodded. "Thanks for telling me." And suddenly something strange happened. The anxiety didn't disappear, but it softened because the pressure inside her chest finally had somewhere to go. Where are you watching from? Drop your city. State in the comments. 3 months later, the cafe still looked the same. The same espresso machine, the same morning rush, the same customers ordering coffee before work. But Tasha felt different, not cured, not perfect, but steadier. She still kept receipts in her apron pocket, but she didn't crumple them anymore. Instead, she flattened them on the counter, smoothed the paper with her palm, like small reminders. Problems don't disappear when you avoid them. They multiply. Time keeps moving, and the clock doesn't negotiate. Eventually, every avoided conversation returns. But when you face them early, they stop controlling your life. One afternoon, a receipt slipped from her hand again. She picked it up, smoothed the paper flat, and smiled. Now I want to ask you something. What conversation have you been avoiding that could change your life? Tell me in the comments. Subscribe for more stories like this.